morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Plastic Surgery 90210. My name is Ariel.
And I'm Dr. Katzen.
And today we're going to be doing Would You Rather Plastic Surgery Edition.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be fun. But first, we're sponsored by our friends over at Fairgrounds. Thank you so much.
Yummy.
I have a triple shot of espresso with cold foam and stevia.
Wow, good thing we only do this once a week. You're going to be wired for a week.
I know. What do you have?
Matcha latte with oat milk. Yummy, yummy.
Ooh.
Earl Grey.
That's really good. They recently went so viral for their miso Caesar chicken wrap.
Good.
I know.
They deserve to. Lines out the door now.
It's so good. So are you ready to get into these Would You Recommends?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Would you recommend a mini tummy tuck for someone who has significant loose skin, also above the belly button?
No. Mini tummy tucks are for excess skin, sort of just above the pubic region. We get rid of the excess skin, get rid of the excess fat, pull the tummy down, and that's it. It really doesn't address the skin or the fat above the belly button, doesn't relocate the belly button, and you don't plicate the muscle. So mini tummy tucks are not really a good surgery for those types of patients.
So it sounds like mini tummy tucks mostly address just a little bit of skin under the belly button region.
Correct, under the belly button or maybe above a C-section scar, typically. Patients get excess skin, excess fat after their pregnancy. Maybe they deliver through a C-section, and that skin sort of hangs over the C-section scar. And those are perfect patients that can undergo a very effective mini tummy tuck.
Now let's talk about muscle repair. So would you ever skip muscle repair during a tummy tuck?
No. There are very rare cases where we do skip the muscle repair. The muscle repair we're talking about is the rectus abdominis muscle. That connects basically your sternum, your rib cage to the top of the pelvic bone. That's that six-pack muscle. So with weight gain, that muscle gets stretched out. With weight loss, the muscle contracts a little bit, but a lot of the fascia doesn't completely recoil. So in 99% of my patients, weight loss patients, we're repairing the muscle. The only exceptions that when we don't repair the muscle are when patients exercise a lot, or you can feel their six-pack and you can actually see the six-pack underneath the skin. Pretty rare in massive weight loss patients.
Usually in the surgeries, once you see the muscle that's open, the rectus abdominis muscle, it's very loose and like jiggly, and
Correct.
You actually can show us at times like
Correct.
how jiggly it is.
Correct. So when the patient's under anesthesia, they are relaxed, they're intubated, the breathing machine's breathing for them. We give them medication to paralyze the muscle, and you can see how loose that muscle is. And once we get it tightened with the six-pack repair plication from the sternum down to the pubic region, that area is really nice and tight.
And you can actually see just by looking at the patient's rectus abdominis muscle if they need the muscle repair or not. The other day we got inside and someone had a full-on six-pack, and we were like, oh, no, he does not need muscle repair
Correct.
at all.
Correct, but pretty rare. Usually we're repairing the muscle.
Usually.
Yeah.
So you would say 99% of the time you are?
99% of the time, yeah.
All right. Would you ever perform surgery on someone who wants to look like a specific celebrity?
No.
No?
No. I think they have unrealistic expectations. They'll come in with pictures, I want to look like, pick a name.
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, and I think those are unrealistic expectations. I mean, if they want to look somewhat like that patient, yeah, but if they come in with a picture of a person and they say they want to look exactly like that, I don't think it's a good idea because the expectations are, I think, unrealistic.
There was this guy who did all this surgery because he really wanted to look like Jimin from BTS.
Okay.
He did so much surgery, and he looked nothing like him at the end.
Exactly. So
but he believed he was Jimin. It was very strange.
Yeah, so again, unrealistic expectations. I mean, we can do these amazing surgeries, but to look exactly like that person, kind of difficult. There was the Jim Carrey one recently too,
Yeah.
kind of scary. But to look exactly like another person, not quite there yet.
Okay. Would you recommend liposuction as a weight loss solution?
No.
No.
No. Liposuction is geared to removing fat, as the name implies. It's not a weight loss solution. If you want to lose weight, you want a surgery for losing weight, think about the lap band, gastric bypass, Roux-en-Y, gastric sleeve, things like that. Those are surgeries done to lose weight. There are medications now, GLP-1s, the Ozempic, the Zepbounds, all those. There's some really good new ones coming out that are even going to be better probably next year. Those are pills to lose weight. But liposuction to lose weight, not a great idea.
Yeah, although you're contouring, it's not like you're removing 20 pounds of fat in the surgery.
Correct. So you've seen the specimen pictures we show on Instagram and YouTube and where you guess the weight. It usually looks a lot more than it actually weighs. And those are skin resection surgeries. When we do liposuction, the amount of fat that we remove usually doesn't weigh that much.
Also, I think people have to understand that liposuction removes subcutaneous fat. not visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs and like your core. So
Correct.
I think people think, getting rid of their fat on the outside will make them look snatched and skinny, but sometimes they still got that belly. That's
Correct.
that visceral fat that you can't do anything about.
That sticks out, yeah.
Yeah.
So the visceral fat is the fat behind the muscle, sort of in this cavity between your rib cage and your pelvis, which can distend your abdomen. That's the fat that's controlled with diet, exercise, of course, genetics, and we can control it with the GLP-1s, the sleeves, the surgeries that help you lose weight.
Would you rather operate on someone who refuses to stop smoking or send them away?
Oh, send them away. Smoking causes vasoconstriction. Okay, that's how the nicotine works. And vasoconstriction decreases your body's ability to deliver blood. And the blood carries oxygen. Oxygen helps the tissues to heal. So if you can't deliver oxygen to the area, it won't heal. And we had a patient years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, who was an active smoker. I told him to quit. And the day before surgery, we were doing our preoperative clearance, and the patient was still actively smoking, and we canceled the surgery. And they came from out of state, and there was a big body lift and thigh lift, and they were very upset to cancel the surgery. And I said, sorry, we have to cancel it because you will have complications due to the amount of smoking. So smoking does cause significant problems. And it's not necessarily the smoke, it's the nicotine in the smoke that causes the vasoconstriction. So even if you're on the patches, the nicotine patches, that still causes a problem. Vaping also still causes a problem.
Yeah, isn't vaping sometimes even worse?
Yeah, vaping is actually even worse than smoking. So if you're going to smoke or vape, I'd probably suggest go back to smoking, even though I don't endorse smoking. But if you're in that situation where the only choice is vaping or smoking, go smoke.
Wow, that's crazy that's kind of the lesser of the two evils in a
it
sense.
is.
Have you ever been lied to by patients where they said they stopped smoking, but really they were?
Absolutely. We had a patient that had a 360 body lift. Again, she'd lost a lot of weight, and she developed a lot of necrosis and a lot of her abdominal flap died, and she acknowledged after the surgery, yeah, she was still smoking.
Oh my gosh, so it's crazy to see in real life what that does to you, what that does to your cells. They can't repair themselves like
Absolutely.
how they would.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you're thinking about surgery, especially plastic surgery, where everything is being pulled tightly and there's a lot of tension on the incisions and delivery of blood is very, very important, don't shoot yourself in the foot by continuing smoking. I mean, if you got to smoke, continue smoking, don't have plastic surgery. But if you really want to have the plastic surgery procedures, do yourself a favor, quit smoking. And not just quit smoking for plastic surgery, just quit smoking forever because it really impacts your health.
What is your take on preventative Botox, say in your 20s?
I think it's a good idea. Botox is a paralytic. It's botulism toxin. It paralyzes the muscles. So if you're concerned about wrinkles and potential wrinkles later on down the road, you may want to think about doing Botox earlier.
Would you ever do a body lift without adding contouring like liposuction or fat transfer?
So we're leaning more and more towards doing more and more BBLs, fat transfer, to the buttock when we're doing body lifts or when we're doing extended tummy tucks or even tummy tucks. And you can do fat transfer when you're doing a body lift. You can do fat transfer when you're doing an extended tummy tuck. It's just that we make a special mattress for you to suspend the buttocks so there's no pressure on the buttock.
Yesterday you had a patient come in who said that he was never considering doing a BBL with his body lift. He never thought about it before. And then his wife did some research and was like, oh, you could do this to kind of make your body look more normal after surgery. Because he had lost all the fat in his buttock and he said his pants would fall down all the time. He'd have to wear his belt as tight as possible and it would still fall. And now he doesn't need a belt anymore.
Exactly. So after weight loss, you lose a lot of fat everywhere. You lose a lot of fat in the buttocks to males and females. And you get sort of a collection of fat above the buttocks, sort of in the lower back region, love handle region. And then you lose your buttock, so there's no area for the belt or the pants to grab onto. They just kind of slide off. So that's why, getting rid of the excess skin and fat above the buttock is a great idea, and then also transferring the fat, if it's needed, to the buttocks. So that's why we're leaning more and more towards doing fat transfer, either during a body lift or an extended tummy tuck, so patients get that contour, get that shape.
Yeah, and I think people think BBL and they think, oh, really huge, overdone butts.
No.
No, these look very natural.
Yeah, these are just normal buttocks to get you fitting in normal clothes.
That's why I have a bone to pick with people who go, every BBL looks unnatural. I can point out every BBL I see.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
How would you know if you're looking at a natural looking BBL? You would never know.
You don't know. I mean, the really good BBLs, I think, are subtle. You can just barely tell.
Yeah. And last question, what procedure would you recommend patients don't rush into?
Yeah, so I think it depends on your priorities. If you've lost a lot of weight and your tummy bothers you, well, do the tummy first. But I wouldn't rush into procedures that really don't bother you too much. So I hate when patients go into a plastic surgeon's office and they're concerned about their tummy tuck and they walk out signing up for a blepharoplasty or a rhinoplasty, things they never even thought or an issue or a bother, or things that don't even bother them. So I wouldn't rush into procedures that don't bother you. Do the procedures that bother you the most first, and then just prioritize things.
Okay. And I think what's most important too is to just make sure that you are completely ready for this procedure mentally and physically.
Yeah. So I think it's very important for whatever procedure you're going into, you're ready for it mentally, you're ready for it physically, whether that's medically, your blood test, EKG, chest x-ray, everything like that. And also financially. You got to be sure your job is set up, you can take that break to recover and not be rushed to getting back into work, 2 or 3 days after the surgery.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much for answering our would you rathers and would you recommends.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions or want to know if Dr. Katzen would recommend a certain procedure, please comment it down below. We'd be glad to answer.
Yep.
And call our office for a consultation.
310-859-7770.
All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thanks.